Hello everyone, welcome to a short lesson video on the topic Analysis and Communication of Accounting Information, that is Ratio Analysis for Cambridge A-Level Accounting. In this video, we will solve a past paper question on the ratios covered in the previous video. Before we proceed, please note, abbreviations are used in this presentation only due to space constraints. Abbreviations are strictly not allowed in the Cambridge exams. This is 2016 Specimen Paper 3. There are 5 friends. Each one has $20,000 to invest. There are 2 companies, ABC and DEF. We have been provided the financial statements of ABC PLC. So we have the summarized income statement of ABC. Then we have the summarized statement of financial position, and then we have been given some additional information about ABC. Next, we have been provided some ratios of the other company, that is DEF. We have also been told that each friend has certain preferences regarding their investment. Jasgol is an ethical investor and is concerned that the suppliers get their money in good time. Jackson needs a good cash flow and seeks a high return in the short term. Khan seeks capital growth. Madge wishes to be confident in a company's ability to maintain earnings in the future. Bernard is risk averse and wants to invest in a company which is on a sound financial footing. In part A, we are required to identify and calculate for each potential investor the ratio for ABC PLC which would particularly interest him or her. So let's get started. Jasgul wants the suppliers to get their money in good time. The ratio that we use to find out the number of days in which suppliers are paid is the trade payables turnover or the trade payables payment period ratio. So let us use that in the case of Jasgul. We'll write the formula for trade payable payment period first. That is trade payables upon credit purchases into 365. Let us check the amount of trade payables and credit purchases given in the question. Trade payables is $320,000. Next, we have to look at the credit purchases. We are not given the figure for purchases in the question, but we are given the cost of sales. Let us look at point 3 of additional information. It says that the value of inventory has remained stable over several years. That means opening inventory is equal to closing inventory. We know that the formula of cost of sales is opening inventory plus purchases less closing inventory. That gives us the cost of sales. But opening inventory is equal to closing inventory, right? So we can cancel this out because they are equal figures. Therefore, you will find that purchases is nothing but the cost of sales. And cost of sales is given to us to be $2,115,000. But now we have to look at only the credit purchases, not the total purchases. So in point 2 of additional information, they have told us all sales and purchases are made on credit. So that means all our purchases, that is $2,115,000 of purchases, are credit purchases. So we can use this figure in our formula. So let's solve and find out the trade payable payment period for ABC PLC. We already saw the trade payable figure in the question, as well as we have seen the credit purchases figure in the question. That gives us a trade payable period of approximately 56 days. That means ABC PLC will pay its trade payables in 56 days. Next, we have been told that Jackson needs a good cash flow and seeks a high return in terms of cash in the short term. Return is always on investment, and the investment which will be made by Jackson in the company will be the market price of the share. Return in terms of cash in the short term will be dividend because that is what the company will pay to the investor in the short term. So we need a ratio which will compare the market price of the share with the dividend. That is nothing but the dividend yield ratio. Let us compute this for ABC PLC. Dividend yield ratio is equal to dividend per share upon market price per share into 100. Dividend per share is nothing but total dividend upon number of shares. This takes care of the numerator, and the denominator is the market price per share. We multiply this by 100. Let us find out the figures from the question. The total dividends paid in the year amounted to $440,000. The total shares which have been issued by the company are 1 million shares, and the market value of one share is given to be $5.6. So that makes our calculation $440,000 upon 1 million shares. This is the numerator, divided by the market price per share, that is 5.6, multiply it by 100. We get a dividend yield of 7.9%. Next, we are told that Khan seeks capital growth. Capital growth comes from reinvestment of funds back into the business. We know that profit available for equity shareholders has two components. It is distributed as dividend, and the remaining portion is available for reinvestment into the business. So if there is a ratio which expresses the relationship between profit available for equity shareholders and dividend, Khan can use that to find out what is the level of reinvestment back into the business. And that ratio is the dividend cover ratio. So let's find out the dividend cover ratio for ABC PLC. The formula for dividend cover is profit available for equity shareholders upon ordinary dividend paid. Profit available for equity shareholders is nothing but profit after tax and preference dividend upon ordinary dividend paid. So let's find out these figures from the question. In this question, there is no taxation and preference dividend. Therefore, the profit for the year is equal to the profit available for equity shareholders. And in point 1 of additional information, we are already told that the dividends paid in the year amounted to $440,000. Therefore, dividend cover ratio will be 890,000 upon $440,000. That is equal to 2.02 times. That is, the profit available for equity shareholders is 2.02 times the ordinary dividend paid, or the ordinary dividend paid is less than half of the profit available for equity shareholders. Next, we see that Match wishes to be confident in a company's ability to maintain earnings in the future. Investor confidence is reflected in the P/E ratio, because this is a ratio which shows us how much the investors are willing to pay to buy one share of the company. So we will use the P/E ratio in the case of Match. P/E ratio is equal to market price per share upon earnings per share, where earnings per share is equal to profit after tax and preference dividend upon number of ordinary shares. We already know that in this question there is no preference share capital or taxation, and therefore the profit for the year will be the profit after tax and preference dividend, that is $890,000. And we also know that the company has issued 1 million ordinary shares. So let us find out the EPS. EPS will be $890,000 upon 1 million ordinary shares. That is equal to $0.89. So now we know the EPS. That means we know the denominator of the PE ratio, that is 0.89. Let us see the MPS, that is the market price per share. The market price of one share is $5.6. That is given to us in point 4 of additional information. So the numerator is 5.6, and therefore the PE ratio is 6.29. That means investors are willing to pay 6.29 years earnings for one share of ABC PLC. Next we come to Bernard. Bernard is risk averse. That means he does not like to take risks, and he wants to invest in a company which is on a sound financial footing. There are two ratios that we can use to assess the riskiness of a business. One is the income gearing ratio and the second one is the gearing ratio. We can use either of these ratios to help Bernard make his decision. The formula for income gearing ratio is interest upon profit from operations into 100. Let us find these figures in the question. The interest for the year is $50,000 and the profit from operations is $940,000. Therefore, the income gearing ratio will be 50,000 upon $940,000 multiplied by 100, which gives us an income gearing ratio of 5.3%. The formula for gearing ratio is non-current liabilities plus preference share capital upon non-current liabilities plus preference share capital plus equity or ordinary share capital plus reserves, the whole thing multiplied by 100. Let us find these figures in the question. The company has only one non-current liability, that is debentures of $500,000. It has ordinary share capital of $1 million. There is no preference share capital. And then there are three reserves: share premium, revaluation reserve, and retained earnings. And we are given the total of the equity share capital and the reserves, that is $2,650,000. We will use these figures to find out our gearing ratio. Non-current liabilities are $50,000 of debentures, no preference share capital, again $50,000 of debentures, plus equity share capital and reserves we have already seen. The total is $2,650,000. The whole thing multiplied into 100. That will give us 15.9%. This is the gearing ratio for ABC PLC. With this, we have completed part A of the question. In part B, we have to explain what each ratio shows the investor. In the case of Jazzgold, we saw that we had to compute the trade payables payment period, and it came to be 56 days for ABC PLC. That means ABC PLC was paying its trade payables in 56 days. Let us see the trade payables payment period for DEF PLC. DEF PLC has a trade payables payment period of 97 days. Let us compare this with the trade payable payment period of ABC PLC. So DEF PLC's trade payables payment period is 97 days, and therefore we can say that ABC pays its trade payables 41 days, that is 97 minus 56, 41 days earlier or 41 days sooner. So it is following a more ethical policy. We already know that ABC PLC's dividend yield ratio is 7.9%. We computed it in part A. Let us find out DEF PLC's dividend yield ratio from the question. DEF PLC has a dividend yield ratio of 11.7%. So that's 11.7% under DEF. If Jackson invests in ABC PLC, he is getting a return of 7.9% on his investment. And if he invests in DEF PLC, he is getting a return of 11.7% on his investment. But what does this mean in terms of dollars? Let us find out. The formula for dividend yield is dividend per share upon market price per share into 100. Alternatively, we can write total dividend upon total market worth of all shares multiplied by 100. Rearranging this equation, I can get total dividend is equal to dividend yield ratio multiplied by total market worth. Total market worth here means the market value of those shares that Jackson will purchase. We have already been told that each friend had $20,000 to invest, and therefore we can say that the market worth of Jackson's shares is $20,000. We will use this formula to find out the dividend received by Jackson in each of the two companies. If Jackson invests in ABC, his dividend yield will be 7.9%. And the market worth of his shares is $20,000. Therefore, the dividend received in ABC will be 7.9% of $20,000, $1,580. If Jackson invests in DEF, his dividend yield will be 11.7%. The market worth will be $20,000. Therefore, his dividend, if he invests in DEF PLC, will be $2,340. If Jackson invests in DEF, his dividend will increase by 2,340 minus 1,580, that is $760. In the case of Khan, we have computed in part A, the dividend cover ratio is 2.02 times. Let us see the dividend cover ratio for DEF PLC. The dividend cover ratio for DEF PLC is 1.19 times. So we will write 1.19 times under DEF. That means ABC's dividend cover ratio is more by 0.83 times as compared to DEF's dividend cover ratio. That means there is less dividend distribution and more retention of funds or reinvestment of funds, and more net asset value and more capital growth, which is basically what Khan is looking for. For Match, we have computed the PE ratio for ABC PLC. It was 6.29. Let us see the PE ratio for DEF PLC. The PE ratio for DEF PLC is 7.18. So 7.18 under DEF. It is greater by 0.89 than that of ABC PLC, which means that investors are more confident that DEF PLC will be able to maintain its earnings in the future, which is what Madge is looking for. We have seen that the income gearing ratio for ABC PLC is 5.3%. Gearing ratio for ABC PLC is 15.9%. Let us see the ratios of income gearing and gearing for DEF PLC. Income gearing ratio of DEF PLC is 17.7% and gearing ratio of DEF PLC is 43.4%. We'll write the figures in the respective columns. Therefore, we see that the income gearing ratio of DEF is greater by 12.4% than that of ABC, and the gearing ratio is 27.5% greater than that of ABC. That means company DEF is more at risk from changes in interest rates or the need to repay debt. So DEF is the riskier option. Now that we have seen what the ratio we have calculated for each investor shows the investor, we have completed part B. We can move on to part C, where we have to recommend to the investor which company they should invest in. ABC pays its trade payables sooner, so Jazgul will invest in ABC PLC. Jackson will earn a higher return on investment in DEF, so he will invest in DEF PLC. ABC PLC has more reinvestment and capital growth, so Khan will prefer ABC. Investors are more confident about DEF PLC, so Madge will invest in DEF PLC. ABC PLC is less risky, therefore Bernard will invest in ABC PLC. This completes part C of the question, and with that we have completed the entire question. So that was a past paper question on some of the ratios in the syllabus. We will cover more ratios in the next video.